Hello and welcome to the video lecture on Hamlet. To begin with, well, I'm going to be looking at my notes, so if you see me looking down, that's why. I want you to remember that we always use devices to explain theme in this course. So always have a thesis that actually names the devices that will be used to explain a specific theme. For Hamlet, we're going to look at devices like plot and character development, and we're going to look at the themes of indecision, madness, and a universe out of order. First, let's talk about the Shakespearean tragic flaw. In Macbeth, for instance, he has blind ambition as a tragic flaw. He goes on a murderous rampage to gain and hold on to the throne. In King Lear, folly is his tragic flaw. His foolish judgment. He divests himself of his kingdom, giving half to one evil daughter, half to another evil daughter, and he banishes from his kingdom the only daughter, Cordelia, that loves him, and he also banishes Kent, his most loyal subject. We would expect a king to be wise, but he's actually a fool. In Hamlet, critics most often talk about indecision, his lack of decisiveness to exact revenge for his father's death and kill his uncle Claudius, who is the murderer of his father. So, let's begin then with plot. And we'll start at the very first scene. In the very first scene, we have a guard on watch. Francisco is the guard. And we've all seen probably movies where you have a guard on watch holding a weapon and a second guard comes to relieve him. Well, the guard who's on duty might say something like, "Halt, who goes there?" But what happens in Hamlet is the reverse. The approaching guard, Bernardo, is the one who calls out to the guard on watch, "Who's there?" So there's this immediate reversal, or a universe out of order, as I said earlier. And so when we notice something like that in a text, whether it's a play, a novel, a short story, whatever it is, we want to look for anything, again, that's a reversal or something out of order. And I would say to you that this plays out again and again in Hamlet. For example, Hamlet should gain the throne when his father dies. He's the prince of Denmark. But the universe is out of order, because what happens is Hamlet's uncle, Claudius, takes the throne. That is not the norm. So Shakespeare set us up with the reversal, a universe out of order with the guard, and then we find out that Hamlet does not get the throne. Another aspect of a reversal or a universe out of order would be Claudius marries Hamlet's mother, his sister-in-law. Now, at that time, brothers and sisters-in-law were thought of as real bloodline brothers and sisters. This is then an incestual relationship. Incest is not the norm. Once again, we have a universe out of order. Also, someone should be sent to heaven having made a reckoning. And by reckoning, I mean having atoned for their sins. And we see this played out with Hamlet debating whether or not to kill Claudius, and he refrains from it because Claudius is in prayer. It was believed at that time if you killed someone while they were in a state of prayer, they went straight to heaven. And so that's out of order. We should normally want someone to go to heaven. We can contrast this with Polonius, who is killed by Hamlet. Polonius makes no reckoning. So is this then a universe out of order where we're setting up something where madness of sorts can grow? Okay, we'll look at character development. King Claudius states, and I'm going to quote here, "Poor Ophelia, divided from herself in her fair judgment, without which we are pictures or mere beasts." So we're like beasts, pictures of ourselves, if we don't have our fair judgment. Does Ophelia's departure from fair judgment also reflect Hamlet's departure from fair judgment? And are these people devolving, the opposite of evolve, right? Devolving into pictures of themselves or beasts? So is Hamlet also divided from his fair judgment? See, that goes to the issue that critics talk about. Is Hamlet truly mad, or does he feign fake madness? Hamlet says we have to remember that he's mad in craft. Okay, now, Hamlet sees the ghost of his father and he talks to it. But we probably believe that the ghost is real because Horatio, Marcellus, and Bernardo have also seen the ghost. Still, what about the scene with Hamlet and his mother where only Hamlet sees the ghost? Is Hamlet now mad because he's the only one seeing this ghost? Is the ghost really there? This is why critics question whether Hamlet feigns madness or if at some point he's actually driven mad. Because Hamlet says, "Make you to ravel all this matter out, that I essentially am not in madness, but mad in craft." So is he being crafty? Is he devising and putting forth this plan where people will think he's mad? And in that way, perhaps they're not as fearful of him or something to that effect, and he can gain some sort of advantage. And what of Hamlet's, as far as character development, what of Hamlet's loss of his father, and because of that, a product of that is a loss to Hamlet of his own identity in terms of him having no father. The father-son relationship was really very key at that time. And so if he has lost his father and thereby lost his own identity, does this help to explain that Hamlet is somehow devolving? And we also have to look at the scene where Hamlet is reading, and Polonius asks him what he's reading, and Hamlet's reply is words, just words. In other words, the words have no meaning. So we can relate this to the text doesn't matter. If words don't matter, and what we're actually doing is engaged in the act of reading words, reading a play, now has the text devolved along with the characters. Hamlet's indecision. In an ordered universe, a prince would exact revenge against his father's murderer. But in this play, Hamlet is constantly in a state of trying to decide whether to do that, how to do that. So we really do have a universe out of order. All right. Well, I hope this is helpful, and thank you.